Hey there, so what I'd like you to go ahead and do is think of a sticking point in your life. So maybe it's about your health, maybe it's something in relationships or the lack of relationships, maybe it's something about finances. Whatever it is, just consider a topic, an aspect of your life that's just something you want to change, something that you want to do. And I'll give you one of my examples. So over the last year and a half or so, I've been really working on my health. So running, working out, and I've lost about 20 pounds in weight, 18, 20 pounds anyway. Now for me, one of my sticking points in the last 6 months is my metabolism. So I've been thinking about my metabolism and I think about, okay, what's the real sticking point here? What am I experiencing in my reality? And I want you to think about this when you consider your own topic. So your own situation or problem that you're going through. So just consider, what's your sticking point? What's the thing that you're experiencing? And the thing I was experiencing for me was where it just felt like my metabolism wasn't really catching up to where I wanted it to be. I felt kind of agitated sometimes, that I could have something very small and it could make me feel so big. So it was really like a sticking point for me. It just used to bring me down. So therefore, I'd spiral out of control for a little bit until I could regain that composure. Now, naturally, because that was my sticking point, something's got to change there. So as you consider what you experience when you go through that, it could be a belief system, it could be an emotion, it could be a behavior that you do. So think about beliefs, it could be not being good enough, not being worthy, fear of failure. If it's emotions, it could be anger, sadness, fear, guilt, hurt, frustration, you name it. There's so many out there. And then it can even be behaviors like self-destructive behaviors, self-sabotage. It could be simple things like smoking or eating. It could be anything really. So just consider what you go through, how you know you have the issue, how you know that you're experiencing it, through your thoughts, your feelings, and your behaviors. Now, as you consider that, I want you to consider what is something that you can do that if you could do consistently, that you could experience and have in your life in belief, in feeling, and behavior. What would that be? What would it allow you to move forward in? What could allow you to just make that leap in your progression? Now, for me personally, it was about consistency. You see, physically, my body just wasn't up to where I wanted to be in my mind. So to me, to get my metabolism to where it needed it to be, which is so much better right now, by the way, is just by having this kind of little breakthrough, I thought consistency was a thing that I needed to do. And as I began to have that thought of consistency, to run consistently on like 5-6 times a week, or to eat in a certain way, I began to change my results, and therefore I did not feel disempowered by experiencing that agitation, that worry, that kind of scarcity, even that passive aggression when it came to eating of, oh, I can't have that. I began to change my focus from not what I was experiencing in that moment, but instead to focus on what I could do right now. What's something that I could actually do in day basis or day-to-day basis, and that was consistency for me, just to realize that I could go forward. And another one was passion as well, to have passion in getting my metabolism up, to have passion and really drive myself forward. And by just repositioning ourselves from not what we're just always experiencing, but to how we want to be, and coming up with a few things that we can do, you'll begin to see many changes. So if one, for example, was, well, if you had the belief of being worthy and good enough, you want to be able to create a mantra in your mind or begin to write out empowering statements, to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm a badass, I look amazing, I look great. Even if you don't believe it straight away, just begin to say those type of things in such a loving way, your unconscious mind will begin to take it on. If you think about, if you're experiencing lots of fear or anger, sadness, fear, guilt, and hurt, put yourself in the feelings that you'd like to have. So maybe that was security. Maybe that was confidence. And just consider times in your past where you had that security and confidence. Go back there, see what you saw, hear what you heard, and feel that confidence and security, and bring that to this present moment and begin to spin it faster. And then think of the old problem, but have that feeling of confidence and security there. That way, we're beginning to submerge the old issue with these new feelings. And if it's for behaviors, Maybe say if you wanted to quit smoking, you begin to maybe create other things that you could do which will allow you to go through that process of quitting smoking. So in other words, rather just wallowing in not only the problem, but how we know we've got the problem in our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, we're changing our focus and developing a habit, a mentality that will actually move us forward. And then that becomes clearer. Each day we do it, it becomes more unconscious. It becomes second nature, just like when you began to learn to walk or to drive. Very hard at first, but after a period of time, you do it unconsciously. That's the way you really begin to change your mind. And remember, whatever you want in life wants you. So that means if we're putting our attention on all the things we're experiencing right now, we're going to get more of the same. So change the frequency of your thoughts. So for me, it was about changing my mentality from that passive aggression, that agitation, that annoyance when my body wouldn't metabolize quickly enough, to putting it into consistency. And as I put it into consistency and passion, my whole energy began to shift. I began to grow as a person. I began to move as a person. And when I thought about my metabolism, I felt motivated and driven to go forward in things. So it's all about changing the frequency of our thoughts, our feelings, and our behaviors. And the great news is, although it may be a bit of a challenge at first, we're able to do it. We do not need other things. We do not need other external things. It's all in us to just do it on ourselves. It may take time, it may take consistency, like my example. But it's doable, it's achievable, and you're worthy of that change. So whatever you're doing right now, whatever problem you're going from or going through, realize whatever you want wants you. You just have to change your frequency. You have to consider what do you need to shift yourself in that momentum way. If that even makes sense as a sentence, right? To choose whatever you want, which will allow you to move forward in getting what you want, to have that momentum in your life. That means we're shifting our whole energy and our whole focus to get to where we want to be. So I hope you enjoyed that. Have the most wonderful day. Always realize you're worthy and good enough, capable to achieve anything that you desire, and that I believe in you. Many thanks and goodbye.